Hi there everybody, this is David, and we are definitely living through a second JRPG renaissance. Things are going well, and tons of great games are coming out every time I turn around. But here I want to go over the best games that have been released this decade, from 2020 all the way up through present day. And I definitely do think that that's worth a sub, as I do try my hardest to 100,000 subscribers. With your help, your like, and your sub, I just know that I can get there. So thanks so much for that. And now let's get started diving right on in to these fantastic RPGs.
First up, at number 1, we have the Atelier Ryza Trilogy, released for the PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. While I did promise 15 games, I always deliver more, because here I'm going to be discussing an entire trilogy that I love, the Atelier Ryza Trilogy. And while sometimes I am guilty of making fun of some people for buying games just based upon, tits and ass, I'm guilty too, because I bought this game based upon Lent's crop top and abs. And really, who could blame me? The guy's hot. But I was pleasantly surprised by a fantastic little game with a riveting storyline, a super fun fast-paced turn-based combat system, and huge massive open areas to explore. Kinda similar to the Trails series, the trilogy follows the same characters and you get to watch them grow up and change, and I fell in love with all of them here.
Number 2, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Well, this is definitely the latest game on the list. It could arguably also be the greatest one too. But that could be some recency bias, but whatever. I am having an absolute blast with this French-inspired RPG. The storyline focusing on expeditioners out to where the paintress has never really been told before, and the writing is some of the best that I've ever encountered, genuinely making me laugh out loud and, in equal measure, cry at the more poignant moments. The areas are massive, filled to the brim with treasures to find and explore, the world map is gorgeous, and the combat is challenging yet addicting. I can't say enough good things about this masterpiece.
Number 3, the Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth, released for the PS4 and PS5. Kinda like the Atelier Ryza trilogy, I'm going to be talking about these two games here together. Because if you were introduced to the Final Fantasy series through the 7th entry like many people were, then I'm sure that you applauded this remake trilogy. And even though I was introduced to the very first one back on the NES, I was definitely intrigued by this. Here you get to see the world that you know and love, but it's just a lot more fleshed out and filled to the brim with content. And they inexplicitly changed the combat to action instead of turn-based, but they are still two fantastic games, and I cannot wait for the third one to come on in and wrap up this trilogy. Number 4, Yakuza Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. Ichiban, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. These two games feature classic turn-based combat along with a wacky story set in real-world Japan, and then in Hawaii. All of the side quests, as well as the main story really, are just off the wall. The characters are dumbasses, but I love them, and there's a job system. You know how much I love a good job system, but they're based on real-world occupations, like hobo, which I guess isn't really a job, but whatever, you get the drift. All told, these are absolute gems and must-plays for any turn-based RPG fan. Number 5, Ys 9 and 10, released for the PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The latest two entries in the seminal action RPG series are definitely some must-play games. In 9, Adol is confined to a prison city, which he explores with the help of gifts, which allow him to run straight up walls, hover, have X-ray vision, or warp around, among other things. It really makes you feel like a superhero as you go on zipping up spires, flying over ravines, and slaughtering your enemies. Then in 10, you're bound by fate to a pirate Karja, as you would sail through and explore Obelia Gulf, finding new islands, rescuing townsfolk, and uncovering the mysteries of the islands. Number 6, Tales of Arise, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. This here is a breath of fresh air going over the Tales series. Just about everything here received an upgrade from the previous entries. The beautiful new, almost graphic style novel art style, which bleeds into the new skit system, a complete battle system overhaul, phased boss fights implementing elements from other action RPGs, a simple yet useful food system, and a crafting system that unlocks more customization over time. The story is focused on character development and the interpersonal relationships between them. I mean, it really does have everything that you need in an action RPG classic. Number 7, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, released for the Nintendo Switch. This absolute gem delivered on the hype and exceeded expectations, as 3 takes all the great features of the first games, drops some of the questionable inclusions from the second game, adds some quality of life features, and then it tells a gripping storyline involving countries locked in a never-ending war with characters who face an inevitable death. Everyone is likable, relatable, and endearing, with hardly any annoying anime tropes. And most importantly, the world's absolutely massive, rife with hidden nooks and crannies to explore. The combat takes everything that worked in the previous entries, builds upon them, and then also introduces some new mechanics that make it the most fun out of the entire series. Number 8. Star Ocean The Divine Force and the Star Ocean 2 Remake, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. We can credit the 6th game with the revitalization of the Star Ocean series, because unlike the 5th dumpster fire game, it went back to the basics, back to a formula that worked, with 2 protagonists, multiple planets to explore, hidden, unique characters, and super fun, fast-paced combat, along with that riveting storyline. You just can't go wrong here. And then, because the 6th game went back to what worked in the 2nd game and it sold really well, guess what they did? They went back and they redid the 2nd game, which is known as the best game in the entire series. And it has all the charm, breadth, and depth of the original game with quality of life additions like fast travel, cutscene skipping, and the ability for your back row party members to pitch in and kick some ass during battles too. I, for one, hope for a Star Ocean 7 right around the corner. Number 9. Chained Echoes, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. This little indie gem took the world by storm whenever it dropped. It takes the best of the classics of the SNES age, but adds in a modern touch, as well as a really cool twist on the battle system, where you can kind of use like a tag team method to take down enemies while keeping the bosses inside the combat meter. Evoking the 90s era and truly channeling Final Fantasy III goodness, this hits all the nostalgia notes in all the right ways. The bonus board allows for tons of challenges, there's a class system, skill trees, hidden areas, a gripping storyline, and most badass of all, you get to control mechs, where you can fly across the screens that you could only previously run across. I hope that the big publishers are watching, because this is the return to the past that I would love to see in some future AAA games. Number 10. Octopath Traveler 2, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Personally, I love this series. You choose to follow the paths of 8 separate heroes, each complete with their own powers and storylines, set in a gorgeous HD 2D environment with turn-based battles. The world's open, and you can explore it at your leisure, recruiting whichever characters you would like, and going in whichever order you would like as well. Each town and area is wholly unique, very inviting, and it just draws you into its vast world. The graphics are stunning and showcase to the world that old school gaming is not dead. It can thrive and flourish in the modern age. Number 11. Naruto Boundless Trails, released for the PS4, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The Trails series isn't exactly known for its action combat or Metroidvania type exploration, but that's what we have here. In this hidden gem, the climate's all out of whack, and it's up to you to go through the stages and restore them to their rightful seasons. So with 4 different seasonally themed worlds, there's really a ton of different stages available to you along the way. Because once you do restore the original season, all of the stages change. You might go through it first in winter where everything's frozen, but then go through it again whenever it's summer and it's filled with water, and then again in autumn when the trees have fallen, or in spring when the vines have grown. Everything changes and new secrets unlock, and it allows for a ton of exploration and just a boatload of fun. Number 12. Unicorn Overlord, released for the PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and PC. Let's all hope that this here spawns a brand new series based upon this IP, because it's just that good. Vanillaware always hits, and this real-time strategy RPG is just killer. Everything is shown to you, as all the towns, dungeons, NPCs, and enemies are all on this massive world map. Then, whenever you encounter them, it kind of expands into the battlefield, and afterwards, boom, you're back there onto that world map. Customizing all your characters and teams is super fun, and the combat's so quick, you won't even have to see it if you don't want to, you can just skip it. And did I mention, it's just gorgeous too. Number 13. Visions of Mana, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. I love the Mana series. I played the first one back on the Game Boy. and I've played every single one of them since, and I can confidently say that Vengeance of the Mana is easily the best one yet. Similar to Star Ocean, they went back to the basics, as this tells a touching story of love and loss as you traverse a diverse world filled to the brim with colorful characters and lively, beautiful environments. The combat's super fun, and all the classes are a joy to fool around with. It's just oozing charm, and the characters are unforgettable. There's just so much fun to be had here, it is insane. Number 14, Metaphor ReFantasio, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. I personally have a love-hate relationship with Persona, mostly because I hate high school bullshit in my games, but Metaphor doesn't take place in a high school. Instead, it takes the best of Persona and Shin Megami Tensei and fuses them together into its own thing. Yeah, there's still that Persona time limit, but it's very generous as you traverse the kingdom, killing humans and uniting tribes to become the king of the land. I don't think that I've seen a more imaginative world, filled with all sorts of realistic characters and tons of job classes. I mean, I'm telling y'all, this job system even rivals that of Final Fantasy V. And finally, number 15, Dragon Quest III HD 2D, released for the PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and PC. My childhood favorite Dragon Quest game is back with a vengeance. This is the one game that has always stood the test of time, introducing job classes to the series and taking place in the real world. This remake now adds an entirely new job class, along with a bevy of new side quests, bosses, dungeons, and extra special scenes giving you background on Ortega's journey. I love the HD 2D style, and with the first and second games coming up next year, how much do you want to bet that they're going to be doing the same thing for the Xenoblade Trilogy 2? It's just a matter of time, and I am living for it. So that's it for all the best RPG games released so far in the 2020s. What are your favorite RPGs that released this decade, and did I miss any? Let me know in the comments, and let's all talk and chat about it. And if you like this video, here's another video going over some really awesome RPGs that you've just got to check out. So please do click on over to that, and as always, have a good day.